Let me start with a warning. If you've got a weak stomach for betrayal, buckle up. This isn't just a story about infidelity. It's a story about layers of lies, years of trust crumbling in the space of a few text messages, and family dinners that now taste like betrayal. Also, if your name is Ethan and you have a brother, maybe skip this one. Anyway, I'm 32 and male. My name's not important, but for the sake of storytelling, let's call me Jake. My wife, now ex-wife, is Laura, 30 female. My brother, the human dumpster fire in this story, is Ethan, 34 and male. And this whole thing unfolded over the course of a few months, but the rot started much earlier. I just didn't know it. Laura and I met in university. I was studying computer science, she was in graphic design. I know, real cliché. We bumped into each other in the library, reached for the same book, sparks flew. Except in real life, she was reaching for a sketchbook she'd left behind, and I knocked my coffee all over it. Classic romantic comedy stuff. I offered to buy her a new one. She declined. But then, she kept showing up in that same spot for a week straight. That's how she was. A little aloof, incredibly witty, and had this intense way of looking at you like she was sketching your soul on paper. We dated all through our 20s. I got a solid job working in cybersecurity for a finance firm. Laura started doing freelance branding and web design, and by the time we were 28 and 26, we were married and living in a nice 3-bedroom just outside Leeds. Life was good. Not glamorous, but we had late-night kitchen dance parties, a rescue dog named Juno, and our own silly routines. Now here's the thing about Ethan. He was always the golden boy. Older by 2 years, taller, louder, better looking, according to literally every ex I've ever had. He played semi-pro rugby until a knee injury took him out of the game. Now he works in sales for a logistics company. The kind of guy who could sell ice to an Eskimo and charm your nan into giving up her biscuit recipe. We've always been close, raised by our mom after dad passed when we were teens. Single-parent household, tight-knit. Ethan and I fought like brothers, but we had each other's backs. Until, well, he had my wife's back. And front. But we'll get to that. Around our 5th wedding anniversary, I started noticing small shifts in Laura. Nothing dramatic at first. She was still affectionate, still funny, still the same woman who made fun of my inability to load the dishwasher like a normal human being. But there was a distance, a disconnection. She started staying up later than usual, claiming she was working on a new client's branding package. She'd guard her phone more than usual. Nothing suspicious at first, just more private. I'd walk into the room and she'd lock the screen. I chalked it up to freelancer burnout. One night I joked, "You having a secret affair with Photoshop, or should I be jealous of Canva now?" She laughed, rolled her eyes, kissed me on the cheek.
Only thing I'm cheating on is sleep.
And like an idiot, I believed her. 2 months before everything fell apart, we hosted a family BBQ. Mum came, Ethan came. Laura's parents came down from Newcastle. Her dad is ex-military, quiet, stoic. Her mum's the kind of woman who brings a bottle of wine and gossip about the neighbors in equal measure. At one point, I caught Ethan and Laura laughing in the kitchen over something on her phone. She was blushing. I didn't think anything of it. They've always gotten along, maybe a little too well in hindsight. But I trusted them. I thought, she's beautiful, he's charismatic. They're like the world's most annoyingly attractive siblings-in-law. That day, Ethan pulled me aside and said, "You've done well for yourself, little bro. Laura's a catch." Again, I didn't think anything of it. I should have. Fast forward to our 6th wedding anniversary. I'd been planning a surprise trip for months. Found this beautiful cottage in the Lake District. No signal, wood stove, giant tub, cozy little pub nearby. I even had a stupid engraved bracelet made with our wedding date and the coordinates of the cottage. Yeah, I know. Cringe now, cry later. The night before the trip, I came home from work early. Laura wasn't home yet, which was odd because she was supposedly wrapping up work to get ready. Juno was whining at the door. I figured maybe she'd just run out for groceries. I walked in and, This is where the pit started to form in my stomach. I noticed her iPad was still on the dining table. Now look, I'm not a snooper. I respect privacy. But something felt off. It buzzed. A notification popped up. Just a preview. Wish I could feel you again tonight. Can't stop thinking about last weekend. E. I thought Ethan? Nah, couldn't be. Must be one of her design clients, right? I opened it. I wish I hadn't. What I found was a full-blown affair in the form of GIFs, emojis, and sexts that made me want to bleach my eyeballs. There were videos, photos, screenshots of calendar invites to design consultations that were actually meetups at hotels halfway between our place and Ethan's flat in Sheffield. And they weren't just sleeping together. They had nicknames, inside jokes, pet names, plans. Ethan had sent her a message the week before. Soon, babe, you won't have to lie to him anymore. We'll be real. That one gutted me. My heart didn't just break, it evaporated. I sat there in our living room, in the house we made together, with the smell of Juno's kibble and the faint scent of Laura's perfume, trying to understand how the two people I loved most had turned my life into a Greek tragedy. I didn't confront her that night. I needed more proof, more clarity, and maybe I just wasn't ready for the explosion yet. Over the next week, I acted normal. I copied everything, took screenshots, videos of the iPad screen, backed it up to a drive I kept in the glove compartment of my car. I started noticing more. How she always left the room to take certain calls. How she'd suddenly need to go see a client in person at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday. One night, I pretended to be asleep and watched her sneak out of bed and text someone in the hallway. I took a photo of her silhouette. It looks like a scene from a noir film. Then I made my move. I invited Ethan over for drinks to celebrate the anniversary. Told him I wanted to toast to the brother who's always had my back. He came, smiling, even brought a bottle of whiskey. I poured him a glass, handed him one, raised mine, and said, "To the man who taught me how to shave, how to ride a bike, and apparently, how to sleep with my wife." He blinked, laughed like I was joking. Then I slid a USB stick across the table. Dead silence. He opened it on his phone. I watched his face crumble in slow motion. He didn't deny it, didn't say a word, just sat there. Then whispered.
"I didn't mean for it to happen."
I said, "People don't just trip and fall into each other's beds, Ethan." I didn't punch him, but I told him if he ever came near me again, I wouldn't hold back next time. He left, tail between his legs. Then I waited for Laura to come home. That was a different kind of explosion. She screamed, cried, denied at first, then admitted it, then blamed me.
You stopped seeing me. You buried yourself in work. I needed something more.
So you chose my brother?
I didn't plan it.
I told her, yeah, you just made hotel reservations, packed lingerie, and set calendar reminders. She begged me not to tell our families. So of course the next morning I invited both sets of parents to brunch. And spilled everything. My mom sobbed. Laura's mom slapped her. Her dad stormed out. Ethan didn't show up. The family fractured that day. Like a cracked plate no one wanted to glue back together. I moved out a week later, took Juno, filed for divorce. Ethan and Laura tried the "we're just taking time to figure things out" thing, but apparently it didn't last. Last I heard, he moved to Manchester. She's still freelancing. Alone. Me? Therapy. A lot of it. I've learned I'm stronger than I thought, funnier than I gave myself credit for, and better off without either of them. Sometimes I still wonder what would have happened if I hadn't checked that iPad. If I'd gone to the Lake District, handed her that bracelet, toasted Ethan, and smiled through the biggest lie of my life. But maybe it's better this way. I toasted him before I knew. Now I can toast myself for surviving it. Update. Well, I didn't expect that post to blow up the way it did. I figured a few people might read it, maybe tell me I was better off, maybe DM me a gif of Maury saying, "You are not the brother." But instead, it reached millions. The outpouring of support, the empathy, the shared stories. Man, you all genuinely helped me in ways I can't explain. So I figured it was only fair to come back and tell you where I'm at now. Because a year ago, I was broken. And now, I'm better than I've ever been. Let me walk you through it. After I moved out of our house that now felt like a haunted museum of betrayal, I stayed with a friend for a bit. Big shout out to Andy, who not only let me crash in his spare room, but also introduced me to the world of early morning gym sessions and aggressively healing through lifting heavy things and swearing at protein powder. Juno, my dog, was the only constant. She slept at the foot of my bed every night, her quiet presence reminding me that not everything in my life had been a lie. I filed for divorce immediately. Laura didn't contest it. I think on some level she knew she'd burned the whole forest down and there was no unburning it. She sent a few messages at first, mostly variations of,
Can we talk? You misunderstood some things. I wasn't myself.
I didn't reply. I archived every message, blocked her number, then moved on to therapy and self-repair like it was a full-time job. I wasn't going to let the worst thing that ever happened to me become the defining thing that happened to me. About 6 months after everything went down, I got headhunted by a competitor cybersecurity firm in London. They offered me nearly double what I was making, a flexible hybrid schedule, and, most importantly, a fresh start. I took it. I moved into a flat near Hampstead Heath, got into running, and started spending weekends exploring parts of the city I used to ignore when I was just a commuter zombie. I even got promoted within 6 months. Turns out, when you're not pouring all your energy into saving a sinking marriage, you're pretty damn productive. Look, dating again after betrayal feels like trying to walk barefoot across a minefield made of red flags and dating apps with names that sound like new Pokemon. But eventually, I dipped my toes back in. I met Ellie through mutual friends. She's American, smart, funny, works in event planning, and somehow finds joy in organizing seating charts, which tells me she's either a genius or a little insane. Jury's still out, but I'm okay with that. We've been seeing each other for about 5 months now. Nothing rushed, no pressure. Just two people figuring out life without pretending everything has to be perfect. She knows the story. I didn't want to hide it. Told her on our third date, awkwardly, over spaghetti, trying not to cry into my garlic bread. She didn't flinch, just said,
Well, you're clearly not boring.
I like her, a lot. A few weeks ago, almost exactly a year since D-Day, I got a message from an unknown number.
Hey, I heard about the new job. I'm really proud of you. Can we catch up sometime? No expectations. Just miss talking.
I knew immediately it was Laura. New number, same ghost. I didn't reply. I could have. I had 100 things I wanted to say. A year ago, I would have written a monologue. But now, I don't need closure from the person who shattered me. Closure came the night I stopped checking my rearview mirror and started enjoying the drive again. You might be wondering what happened to Ethan. Honestly, I don't know, and I don't care. Last I heard, he moved to Manchester and is now finding himself via CrossFit and overpriced smoothies. He and Laura didn't last. Big shock. Apparently cheating doesn't lay the best foundation for trust. Who knew? Mom still talks to him occasionally. But she sets boundaries. She made it clear she's my mom too and won't pretend nothing happened. I see her every weekend. She adores Juno. She even started calling her my grand-dog, which is either sweet or tragic depending on your angle. If you're still reading, especially if you're someone going through something similar, please hear this. You will survive this. It will hurt. It will feel like someone set fire to the future you spent years building. But eventually, after the smoke clears, you'll see there's a whole world outside the wreckage. You'll breathe again, laugh again, love again, even if just starting with yourself. I used to think being strong meant staying. Now I know it means walking away from what breaks you. If you're in that dark place right now, keep going. Don't settle for being someone's maybe when you deserve to be someone's hell yes. Life is short, but it's so damn wide when you step into it on your own terms. Thanks for listening to my story. I never expected heartbreak to become my reset button, but here we are. Heart mended, spine stronger, eyes open. Jake out.